The reason it was called communist survival instincts is that certain people that had certain jobs under communism, they naturally developed this as a way to survive. If you didn't develop it, you would be replaced immediately. So I have a distant relative which used to be the captain of a naval port under communism. And this was a job that was incredibly monitored. Like, there was no way that your phones weren't bugged. Like, the party probably swarmed you with informants. They wanted to know what you are doing every second because you would be engaging with people from abroad. And Romania, like most other socialist nations, required an international image to maintain. Which means that despite the fact that people were hungry here, despite the fact that you had power outages and that warm water wouldn't work all the time and there were shortages, Romania was saying, no, the economy is booming. Everyone is happy. I mean, this is why we keep people locked up. This is why we have strong borders, not to keep people out, but to keep people in. So you weren't allowed to question the narrative, especially if you were to talk with foreigners. And the communist survival instinct was that when a foreigner would come up to you and they would ask you politically loaded questions, you were supposed to say, well, I don't really know about that. I haven't heard anything about that. Oh, this is probably some rumors. And those of you who talk with people from China, I mean, I know you're not supposed to, but some of them do use VPNs. And you start asking them politically loaded questions if you're an asshole, because you can get them in trouble. They will have the exact same response, like, well, I don't know about that. Oh, I never heard about that. Oh, that sounds exaggerated. So I want you to show what's happening with certain white working folks in the United States when the MSNBC reporter puts a microphone in their face.
Your level of interest in the criminal charges and so forth.
February 6th?
January 6th.
There is no way. Like, I refuse to believe that there are people in America that do not know about January 6th, considering that it was the only thing that the media was talking about. The only thing. And then you go on the internet and Google, like, pushes that in your face. Like, I don't believe that he didn't know about January 6th, but it's like a small thing. It's like, well, February 6th? What?
So I remember that day. I know he was the standing president. I'm not familiar with the charges that are being brought against.
This is literally what my family friend would have said if someone would have asked him a politically charged question. Like, probably the exact same body language, you know, like, it's serious time. Because, you know, one word, wrong word, and they will fuck up your life. Like, they will get you fired, you're going to potentially get harassed online and stuff. So it's like, you need to be very careful with what you say. Very, very careful. This is some serious shit. Like, he would probably prefer that the lady had the weapon in her hand rather than a microphone.
Against him for that. I'm not following that charge or I know there's multiple court cases going on. I'm just not familiar with it.
I mean, that doesn't sound like it's going to be a factor in deciding who to vote for.
No.
Okay, so when I say January 6th, what do you think?
Oh, I just remember seeing it on the news, like all the riots and stuff. Don't really know what it was about or what happened, though.
How did it make you feel when you saw it?
I don't know. I don't really feel any way about it. I don't.
Bruh, like, I'm watching this, and again, it's like people that are being held hostage. It's like, you know that if you say the wrong thing, you're over. And it's so saddening for me as an Eastern European to see that this is happening in, allegedly, the nation that's supposed to have freedom. Now, the answer will be like, well, hold on, V. I mean, of course they have freedom. He's not going to be locked up for saying this. But here's what most people do not know about communist regimes. The communist regime didn't always lock people up. I mean, they figured out it's expensive. Like, you're locking someone up, you gotta house them, you gotta feed them. It's time consuming. So what they would do is that everyone required to have a communist membership card if you wanted to be in influential positions, right? So if you're like middle class and you're already working out your way up the ladder, so you're not just like a working class bloke, you're someone like middle upper management or higher, you needed a communist membership card. to show that you're a member of the Communist Party, and obviously, like, they would have to vet you in order to allow you to be a member of the party. They would want to see that you're from good stock, that you don't have any bourgeoisie or any counter-revolutionaries in your family heritage, so on and so forth, and that you didn't commit any ideological crimes. So if that was fine, you would get the card. And usually most people would get the card because you could apply for it the moment you finished high school. And this was also a filter to see who's part of the ideology. I mean, think about it. It's like having pronouns in your bio, pretty much, right? Like, people who were against communism and didn't like the ideology were very unlikely to get a communist card. This is especially like people who are anti-woke are very unlikely to put pronouns in the bio. It was like a screening thing, right? But once you got your card, if it happened that you lost it, I mean, they were very anal about it. Like, if you lost your card, you would get fired. Very few people that lost their card would be able to keep their job, because the idea was that you're irresponsible, like you don't understand, right? So they would create like this sacredness about the card, if that makes sense. So there were people that lost the card, and then they would be sweating bullets, hoping that no one will ask them to show it, because there were times where you had, like, you'd get a promotion, they would ask you to see the card. They would change something about your work. It's like, okay, we're supposed to go into that other city to work, so when you arrived there, you had to show the card. So the card was, like, very important. It was, like, this mythical thing. But also, if you fucked up, right? So, like, let's say you did ideological crimes. Like, let's say you actually go to a foreigner and you say, no, things here are shit. I do think that the government is bad. I do not agree with what happened. I genuinely do not like the president. They wouldn't lock you up. They didn't have to. They would just take away your communist membership card. It's like, oh, so you have those feelings, Tovarish? Oh, I see. Well, then you can't be a communist, right? Because good communists think this way, and you're not a communist. So if they take away your communist membership card, oh, all of a sudden you lose access to a lot of perks. You lose access to a lot of, I wouldn't even say privileges. It's like just normal things that people have. And you'd get fired. And that was the punishment. And that was what kept people in line. And it's the same thing here, right? I mean, if he was to start saying shit on MSNBC and he's like, yeah, you know what? I don't fucking care. What would happen is that people online would start doxing him, because it has happened in the past. They would start go through his social media, try to see if he said anything that's filled with racismus or anything like that. They would try to get him fired. They would try to do anything possible in order to demoralize him and make him an example for other people that speak up. So this is why, like, all these white blokes here, all these working men, they're like, yeah, no, I haven't seen anything. No, I don't know. How do you feel about it? I don't feel any way. It's like, oh, February? When was that? And again, it's so sad to see, because this is exactly how I've been told that people in my country during communism would behave. Like, this is not the reaction of a healthy nation. This is the reaction of people who are demoralized and terrified. Like, these people are absolutely terrified of the microphone. And this is in a country that has free speech in the Constitution, and they're afraid to say political ideas. Like, they're not going to say slurs or anything, but they're afraid to actually express what they think about it. Because I know that this is fear, because if they were like a Destiny chap, I mean, Destiny would be glad to talk about it. It's like, oh yeah, absolutely horrible, horrible. How dare they? Give me the microphone. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you what Short Fat Otaku is going to talk about tomorrow. You know, like, that's what he would do. So the fact that these people don't want to do it, I find it difficult to believe that they don't know about the event. And I also find it difficult to believe that they genuinely didn't feel anything about it. So let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.